All right, so we are going to call the November 20th Development Review Board meeting to order. It is 4:39.
6:39. That clock
Oh,
is 2 hours behind.
just blindly trusted that. It is 6:39. Thank you, Michael. Yeah. And then can I run through the,
And then,
keep going?
yeah, and then next would be asking
All
for
right,
additions.
are there
Yeah.
any additions or amendments to the agenda?
Yes, I am going to omit agenda item 3B, which is approval of the November 6th minutes. We proactively warned a joint meeting with the Planning Commission and City Council, who looked at a project together. There was some interest among Development Review Board members in attending that meeting, but quorum was not reached, so there are no minutes for the board to approve. So omission of agenda item 3B. And that's it.
Okay, and then next we are going to do public to be heard. So I believe that is anyone that has anything that is not on the agenda that they wanted to discuss. Hearing nothing. All right. So moving on to section 3, minutes for approval. So we are looking at the September 18th, 2025 minutes. Do I have to open anything? Or are there any comments or changes?
I do have a few corrections to be made all around people's names. Sharon Willie Padnos and Stephen Willie Padnos' names were spelled incorrectly, and I'll amend that. Mr. Frey's name was misspelled at the bottom of page 2 and middle of page 3. And I think there was a misattribution of first names between Guy Hunter and John Workman, so I will get those fixed as well.
Okay, any other comments on the minutes? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as amended by Michael?
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, gang. All right, I think we need, should you have already read it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read our script. All right, so the meeting of the Essex Junction Development Review Board has come to order. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, which means that some or all of the public body is meeting remotely and some are meeting physically at 2 Lincoln Street in Essex Junction, where the public may attend to observe, listen, and participate contemporaneously. One member of this public body or other staff is present at 2 Lincoln Street to ensure the public can participate if desired. Please note that while we will strive to provide a means for those attending remotely to participate during the public comment period, there may be technical difficulties or reasons that otherwise prevent or interrupt remote public participation. Therefore, it is important to note that the open meeting law only ensures the public's right to participate and comment at a public meeting by attending at the designated physical location as posted in the notice and agenda. If a member of the public or public body has technical difficulties accessing this meeting remotely, please alert me by using the chat feature on Zoom or by emailing me at mgiguere@essexjunction.org. And in the event of a technical difficulty that cannot be resolved, we may continue the meeting if necessary to Thursday, December 18th at 6:30 p.m. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting that are not unanimous will be done by roll call vote in accordance with the law. As required by open meeting law, let's start by taking a roll call attendance of all DRB members participating tonight and having those, starting with those attending remotely by identifying themselves by name to ensure they can hear and be heard throughout the meeting. We'll start with Luke.
Luke Brockmeyer.
Dylan Zwicky.
Great. I will next swear in interested parties and anyone presenting on a topic tonight. So for our 2 guests presenting on the 67 Lincoln Street agenda item, if you would raise your right hand and take the following oath. I hereby swear that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, so it looks like we have conceptual and final site plans. So,
Yep. So procedurally, you'll start by opening the conceptual as if it was a separate agenda item.
okay. All right. Do I motion that or just?
You as the vice chair would just state that you are opening the public hearing. You would do so by reading word for word the agenda item posting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to open the public meeting.
Public meeting.
Okay, for the conceptual site plan application for the addition of 2 apartments and 1 commercial space within the existing mixed-use building with 3 existing apartments and 1 commercial space at 67 Lincoln Street in the MFMU2 district by Lincoln Street Station LLC owner.
Great. And you typically start by asking the applicant or applicant's agents to give a preview of the project.
You guys mind coming up and previewing the project? You
Yep,
can,
into the microphone,
yeah.
please.
And then will you state your name before?
Good evening. My name is Nick Daly. I'm one of the members of Lincoln Street Station LLC.
My name is Jeff Motto, and the other member of Lincoln Street Station LLC.
So just a overview, description.
Sure. So the proposed renovations to 67 Lincoln Street are to renovate the existing space, which is currently made up of 3 residential apartments and a large commercial space that's currently unused, to renovate that existing empty space into 2 additional residential apartments, and then splitting the remaining commercial space into 2 separate commercial units for a total of 5 residential apartments, 2 commercial spaces upon 1 commercial space upon completion.
All right, so next up, you would typically ask for any written information that's been presented as a part of this. And I do have written comments from John Alden, Chair of Development Review Board, who could not attend tonight. So I'll read his comments word for word and then turn it back over to you, where you'll typically, you and other board members, ask questions of the applicants. After that concludes, you turn to the public comment period. All right, so John Alden writes, I've gone through the original packet info. All looks good to me. My thoughts, please share with the board as appropriate at the meeting. Item 1, the outstanding shed violation at the bottom of page 3. I think we have a regulation about not allowing any processing or approval of new applications if there are outstanding violations on the books. I agree that this shed can be included on this application and therefore be brought into compliance with the approval of this current application. Item 2, lighting. Yes, they need a plan and to submit cut sheets to be approved as compliant. This can be done by staff. Item 3, dumpster. Needs to be resolved. Staff can take care of that. Item number 4, landscaping. I am okay with the notion that existing buildings can have a toned down landscaping investment, but we should possibly apply the cost of the renovations as the dollar amount to use for the percent of project cost spent on new landscaping. I feel that they must show a plan of some kind with designated plantings prior to board approval. If they have to swap some things out later because of availability or something, this is fine with an amendment acceptable to staff. But they need to have something on paper now that we can react to. Kicking the can down the road is the first step to not doing anything. John then also writes, I have also reviewed the supplemental material just sent. I am okay with that and the updated recommended motions. I would like to pin down the extent of the requested waiver. We usually grant only the smallest amount necessary to satisfy the plan. So if they need 67.7%, we are allowing a waiver above the allowed of 2.7%, not up to 80%. Frankly, if they already have existing at 67.7, we are not really granting anything, but acknowledging that it is an existing non-conforming lot at this lot coverage. I would prefer to simply acknowledge that than grant a waiver, up to you and your desired record keeping. All right.
All right. Luke, Dylan, did you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious if staff has feedback or thoughts on John's comments.
Yes. So I'll start with let's start with the big picture view of procedurally what happened here. So at the time your packet was delivered last Friday on November 14th, my written staff report to you all recommended approving their proposed plan for conceptual approval, but to continue the final approval at a later date due to some outstanding staff comments. And you were able to read that in my staff report. However, between last Friday and the hearing and the meeting tonight, the applicants have presented site plan changes. So that came between the time that your packet was delivered and tonight's meeting. I presented those updates to you in summary form in a memorandum and showed you their updated site plan. And I also posted that to the city's website so that anyone interested in tonight's meeting could view that. Based on the updates provided, and I'm happy to go through each one individually if that would be helpful, staff find that the outstanding comments that we had on this project have been completely addressed. And thus, I updated my recommended motions to approve this project for both conceptual and final during tonight's meeting. Next, I'll move on to the waiver request. So, as it currently exists, 67 Lincoln Street has existing lot coverage of 67.7% lot coverage. That's above the district allowed maximum of 65%. So this is considered an existing nonconformity. Totally fine until the applicant goes to expand the square footage of the lot coverage. When this application was originally brought to us, there was no proposed increase in lot coverage. As they stated, it's primarily interior work. They're adding some walls to make some apartment space. However, in this most recent site plan update, in order to bring that shed that appeared to be on the property boundary into compliance, they're now moving that fully onto their property. And that, of course, increases lot coverage by the square footage of the shed, which is 230 square feet. In this most recent site plan update, they've also proposed a new walkway, which is 126 square feet, drawn in light gray on the site plan on your screen. So what I would propose, and I have drafted a recommended condition of approval for this, if the board finds these changes to be amenable, would be to grant the applicants their requested waiver, increasing the proposed lot coverage to 70.04%. And the recommended condition of approval would be, applicant shall revise their zoning permit application to reflect the increase in proposed lot coverage to 70.04% for the proposed walkway and shed relocation prior to the issuance of a zoning permit. So from a technical perspective, this would satisfy John Alden's comment that the board typically should be granting waivers just to the smallest increase necessary to satisfy the plan, which this would do. And by specifically naming the walkway and shed in that condition of approval, this would only allow the applicants to add square footage for those two exact things and not, say, amend their application after board approval.
And we could grant conditional approval this evening, and they would just need to resubmit their permit application to you, and then that would not need to come before the full board before they get a sign off?
That's right. So you would, basically from a procedural perspective, be agreeing to the increase in square footage from the shed and the walkway. We would ask the applicant to just write that on their permit application and would proceed with just what you're seeing tonight, just moving the shed onto the property and the walkway and the other site plan features as drawn.
Okay, thank you.
Did the tree advisory gang weigh in at all?
I did get some comments in an earlier version of this site plan from Nick Meyer with the Tree Advisory Committee. Earlier on in this project's life, we had less specificity in terms of the number of shrubs and plantings on the property, which the applicants have since drawn on their site plan. Nick also did mention that the Norway maple, which is drawn on their site plans to be re-added. Used to be on the property, but has since been removed, and the applicant is proposing on planting that back in. And Nick did not note any overhead utility conflicts or anything that would otherwise conflict with this plan.
Yeah, and I would say that I'm generally in agreement with John. I think that making sure that they file a lighting plan with staff. I guess I'm not 100. So we have a landscaping plan of putting in mulch beds, right, and adding the one tree.
Yes, that's correct.
If it's helpful also to note, Mike, is that along with that, the intention is to return some of the overgrowth that's currently on the property so that to make it more line up with exactly what's on that picture, which is kind of bringing those trees that were standalone trees, back to the forefront, so to speak, because there's some overgrowth that needs to be addressed, really, which is just kind of cleanup type stuff. But I think once that's done, it'll match those trees that are there are kind of covered up a little bit by the overgrowth currently, especially near that new walkway.
And I'll comment on lighting since you brought it up. In my staff report, I drafted a condition of approval that says applicant shall submit manufacturer's cut sheets or similar technical specifications of proposed light fixtures to city staff to ensure compliance with section 704 of the LDC prior to the issuance of a zoning permit. So that way we'll be able to verify that they're downshielded and dark sky compliant, just as all city lighting must be.
Yeah, and that satisfies me.
So you can continue with board questions or turn it over for the public comment period whenever you're ready.
All right, I think board questions seem to be satisfied. So is there any public comment? Okay. So then we're in.
At this point, you can entertain a motion to close the public meeting and continue to deliberate as a development review board, and then make a motion, which I've got the recommended motions in your memo or staff report. And this would just be for conceptual.
Okay.
We would move on to final as a separate agenda item.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Public
or public meeting? Thank you.
I'd move that we close the public hearing,
Public meeting.
Second.
public meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So we now are going to vote on the conceptual with the. So can I get a motion with the.
I would move that we approve the conceptual site plan with the caveat that the applicant submits, revise their zoning permit to reflect the 70.4% lot coverage prior to the issuance of the zoning permit.
Would you also include other conditions as written in the staff report?
Yes, and I would, I would propose that we also include other conditions as included in the staff report.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, so motion passes.
Right.
So we had closed the public meeting. Do we go straight into the,
And yeah, now you as vice chair would open the public hearing for final site plan approval.
thank you. Okay, so I'm going to open the public hearing for the final site plan application for the addition of 2 apartments and 1 commercial space within the existing mixed-use building with 3 existing apartments and 1 commercial space at 67 Lincoln Street in the MFMU district by Lincoln Street Station LLC owner.
And so then we repeat the whole process. Unlikely that new information will be presented. So you are welcome to make the motions as we just did at your discretion.
Do you have any additional materials you'd like to present in this new public hearing?
No, ma'am. No.
All right. Are there any additional questions from board members?
Not for mine.
I don't see any public on here, but are there any public comments or questions?
None other than the written correspondence added during the conceptual site plan period from John Alden.
I thought you were about to read a whole new.
Yeah,
I was like,
you got a
man,
bonus.
you held back.
No further public comments.
Okay. So then, I guess a motion to close the public hearing. Is that where we're at, Michael?
I would move that we close the public hearing.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. So now the DRB deliberates, which I think staffing has once again given us the motion. And I think we just want to add in that same 70.07%.
Yep. So it needs. Yep. So you could read the recommended motion in your memo, and add the caveat as discussed at the end of it, and that condition of approval reflecting the lot coverage increase will be recorded in the minutes and added to the findings of fact. So
And
you
all
would just
staff
read it
comments.
verbatim and say as discussed.
I don't know that I can make the motions, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I move that the DRB approve the final site plan for the addition of 2 apartments and commercial space within the existing mixed-use building at 67 Lincoln Street in the MFMU2 district by Lincoln Street Station LLC owners with the following conditions. All staff comments shall be addressed to the satisfaction of city staff. Applicant shall submit the manufacturer's cut sheets or similar technical specifications of the proposed light fixture replacements to city staff to ensure compliance with section 704 of the LDC prior to the issuance of a zoning permit. All new landscaping materials shall meet the tree selection guide from the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program as specified in section 719F of the LDC. Applicant shall submit a sewer allocation request form and pay all applicable sewer allocation fees prior to the issuance of a zoning permit. And the waiver shall be granted up to 70.4% lot coverage,
As discussed.
as discussed.
Is there something that any like landscaping changes be like brought back or like we are notified or the
Yeah, section 5 of the LDC specifies how big of a change triggers board approval. I can pull that up if desired, but it distinguishes between a major site plan approval and minor site plan approval. Small changes in terms of like the exact placement of bushes and trees are typically administratively approval, but
Okay.
large changes to the overall concept of a landscaping plan typically need to come back to the board for approval.
Administrative approval was kind of what I was hoping for.
Yep.
So, okay.
And then we would need a second on Luke's motion.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did Dylan speak? And I just didn't hear him.
I
Sorry. Thanks, Dylan. All right. Motion carries.
Thank you both so much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. So moving on, is there any other development review board items to be discussed?
We do need to reschedule our March meeting, but I'm going to correspond via email to take care of that. I would have you check your calendar for Wednesday, March 18th or Thursday, March 26th as a preview, but I'll send a follow-up email about that tomorrow. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay. So, adjournment. Really don't like that word. Do I need a motion to?
You do.
Can I get a motion to close the meeting?
I move that we adjourn.
do you need a motion to close the public hearing or to adjourn?
We just need a second, Luke.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're all set. Quick one.
Thanks, gang.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for calling in. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. So it's open the public meeting,